for a checkup. You go to the doctor's office, and you go to the front desk, and you check in, and they take you back to an exam room. Once you get back to an exam room, there's usually a nurse or the doctor that comes and visits you. But what do they check first? What are some of the first things they always check when you go to the doctor? Yeah. Your blood pressure and your heart rate. What else?
They also check your reflexes.
Yeah, they'll check your reflexes. What are some other things? Yes. How tall you are, your height. What are some other things that they check on? Yeah, right.
How much you weigh?
How much you weigh?
Your temperature.
Your temperature. So, that's how my day's been going. Hit things over with my elbows. So, temperature is a good example. When your body gets too hot, is it good? If it gets too cold, is it good? So we have a certain range where our body is going to thrive, where our body is going to be healthy, where our body is in what kind of a state? Think about the characteristics of life that we studied. When your body or an organism is right where it's supposed to be, what's the word? Homeostasis. Good job. Yeah. So they're checking to see if your body is in homeostasis. And they're also checking for changes that happen. Why would they want to check for changes? Yeah, a change in your body could indicate, could mean that maybe you have a disease or something is wrong. But how do they tell that your body is changing? How do they know that your body is different? Yeah, comparing it to the other data. Okay, so now think about it like you're a plant doctor. Because scientists that are plant doctors are called botanists. And I don't necessarily mean in a medical sense, like we do where you give something medicine, but I do mean a doctor in the sense that they're studying plants. And things that they're studying are very similar to what we just talked about. They're studying these plants. They're trying to form a baseline so that they can tell if something changes with these plants and try and track it back to what caused that change so that we can maybe find something to help or figure out what to do if it's something that's bad that's happening, right? So what I'd like you guys to do within your table groups, and if you don't have a table group, if you're by yourself today, just turn around, go with the nearest group, join in. I'm going to give you guys about a minute, and I want you to brainstorm and be ready to share things that you would look for in plants if you were a plant doctor. What kinds of things would you look at for a plant to develop a baseline or to tell maybe why changes are happening? Go. You got a minute. Okay, wrap up your last thought.
And like hang out with everyone. That's so funny. Then we went to bring on 5 girls to like chase out.
And who would like to share first? What's something that you would look for in a plant or in its ecosystem to tell if the plant is healthy or not? Yeah, Taven? Color. Yep. Like if the color of the plant changes, what color is a healthy plant?
Green.
Usually green, right? So maybe if it's yellow or brown, we'd know something is wrong. Yes. Go for it.
The soil.
The soil. Yeah, Hazel. So when we are studying the soil, what kind of a factor is that? Remember we talked about the 2 different factors in an ecosystem? Abiotics. Yeah. Soil, an abiotic factor. So in that situation, you're studying the environment around the plant, right? To see what's impacting it and see why things are happening to that plant. Good answer. Yes, ma'am.
Size and height and stuff.
Size and height, yeah. So how do we know if the size and height is normal for that type of plant? Compare it to other. We've gathered some baseline data. So remember I told you guys that this study has been happening for like 20 years? Yeah. It's a long time to study one type of plant, isn't it? But what they're doing is they're gathering data and information so that they have a good solid baseline to use that they can compare when they see something that is a little bit different or not quite right. They've got something to compare it to. Good, these are all great answers, you guys. When these scientists are studying the moss campion plants, they're looking for things like the size of the plant. Are the plants bigger or smaller than normal in a certain area? If they are, then they gotta try and figure out why. They'll start looking at things like soil, see what kinds of nutrients are in the soil. They'll check things like moisture. How much rainfall does that area normally get? And is it still getting that same amount? Yeah, Mia. It could absolutely check the roots. And we're about to get into a little bit more about these moss campion plants. And I want you guys to just remember when we get to the point where we're talking about their roots, and we'll come back to this because they have a really cool adaptation, and we'll go over that word too when we get to it. They have a really cool adaptation that involves